anyone feeling any ascension symptoms? Or is that a silly question at this stage? Have you started to question the world around you? Ever wonder how to contact your guides? If so, hold your horses, open your ears, and let your heart lead the way to resonance. I am so thrilled to have Lonna on the podcast today. Hello, Lonna.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm so glad to see you. Even better. You're welcome
I'm
again.
very happy to see you. Oh, thank you. I can't, I know it's been a month. I can't believe it's like time ceases to exist right now. Like days and nights are just, it's like this one long timeline where I'm like, I can't believe it's been this long since we've recorded our last podcast. But
Yeah.
yeah, we got lots to talk about.
January was like 2 months. February was like a burp. And here we are in March.
Right? It's like, how did we get here? Like it's spring equinox. Like we're in it. Like, well, kind of, we're entering into the new year, but yeah, like we had a really beautiful, it was like 20 degrees yesterday in Canada, and like every day has been negative, negative. It's going back to negative today, but we just had this one blip that came out that was just like, wow, it just melted all the snow. And now it's just like storms and stuff coming. But we had that one day to just be like, don't worry, guys, it's on its way, it's coming. So that was really beautiful. I got outside in nature and did some hikes yesterday. So
Lovely.
very needed. Yeah. How's the weather over there?
Well, it has not stopped raining for the last month. It's like I'm back in
Mm.
Ireland. Ireland literally has swapped places with Spain. That song that we always sing in Ireland, Rain, Rain, Go to Spain. Yeah, that's come true.
Rain, rain, go to Spain.
Yeah. And literally it hasn't stopped raining for the last 3 weeks. All our reservoirs are full. Everywhere is like as green as can be, which is good. It's good, but like I hope nowhere starts flooding.
Yeah, it's been a lot. Like, I don't know how you guys are, but we've had the craziest winter in Canada, like just nutty amounts of snow. So even down by the river yesterday, it was flowing. Like, it was good. We need energy flowing. We need rivers flowing, like,
Yeah.
as opposed to stagnancy. But yeah, there's a lot. I think we're going to see a lot of rain in Canada too, but it's okay. Cleansing is good. We need the cleansing.
Yeah. I do like the freshness of the rain though, you know.
Me
But
too. Me too.
yeah. And how have you been feeling since the eclipse energy?
Whew. Personally, I've been feeling amazing. So
Mhm.
these eclipses coming through. So we had the eclipse a couple days ago, well, a few days ago, and we have another eclipse coming up on the 29th, and then we have a third eclipse coming up September 21st. And these three eclipses are pretty much frequency downloads. We have very, very high frequency energies coming through, and I'm personally feeling them from the first one. I didn't really sleep all last week. Like I was just there was so much downloading at in the nighttime and dream time that I was just awake for days, and I was just like, okay, this is what's happening. It's weird ascension symptoms happening physically. I'm feeling like there's a lot, and with a lot of people I'm speaking to as well, there's a lot of physical ascension happening. Like I can feel my entire digestive tract kind of restructuring my reproductive system. I'm feeling um, I don't want the same foods that I did. The foods that, before would have been maybe comfort foods. I really love baked goods. That's like my go-to for snacks. And even just having the baked goods that I would before, I'm like, whoa, my body doesn't want this. And the things that I enjoyed, like even as a child, it's like it's like I take a bite of the food and it's almost like the memory of what I enjoyed was there, but it's lesser than. It's like, how does it actually feel in my body? And does my body genuinely want this? And it doesn't. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm wanting less meats, like more plant-based, I would say. And there's days where I just want to fast, like I don't really want to eat anything, and days where I'm like I can't get enough food in my body. And it's really like this restructuring that's happening very, very much with this first wave of this eclipse energy is very much about the physical body because we can't integrate frequencies without our vessel being clear. And that is the big, big focus right now, is really just clearing your vessel, clearing your avatar, because we can't integrate these intensities happening if our bodies are clogged, like our auric field is clogged. But right now, it seems to be very much in this first wave is the physicality, is really, really clearing your body, clearing your energy, and really understanding kind of, is this good for me? It's not even about patternings. It's about like shifting that. It's like what I used to love, I don't want in my body anymore. Things I got comfort in, I don't. It's very much, are you finding that too, Sarah? Like where you're like switching what's going on in your body?
Yeah, totally. Yes, like I definitely think that changed the amount of crap I've eaten. No, I definitely don't eat as much crap as I did before. Yeah, because it's a thing that my body just doesn't function like it used to. As in, I
Yes.
need less, I need better food, I need more fuel and nutrients and less. Otherwise, I just need a nap.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. It's like with these frequencies, it's like a lot of people are sleeping way more. Like I have friends sleeping hours longer a night, and they're just like, or we need to be drinking more water. We have to drink way more water right now because we're integrating in some things that, you know, we don't really fully understand, but it's a lot, and we have to be able to really integrate this in. And I'm the same way as you. I can't put certain things in my body anymore. It's just like, I guess I can, but it's also like, it's more of that decision making. And I think this is the biggest thing, which is really determining if what timeline we're on, where we're
Mhm.
operating from, because it's those decisions. It's each decision and each choice we make in each moment is determining which timeline that we're operating from. And when it's like we're coming up, it's like, am I going to have that fruit or am I going to have, that piece of cake that I always love? And no one's saying don't have the cake. It's
Mhm.
just, it's that decision being like, is this the right decision for me in this moment? Like, and I feel like we're making more and more decisions that are healthier and our choices that are like, okay, well, yes, I will maybe enjoy that, but it's also like, how does that feel in my body? And I think that's the big shift that's happening right now, is these decisions that we're making in that moment to moment, where it's like, am I going to make the decision that I kind of always made, or is it going to be, now I'm shifting that, like, oh, I'll have it one more time and I'll shift it tomorrow. But it's like, it's really activating that in this moment now, because it's like, okay, I'm going to take that piece of cake, and I know probably I'm not going to feel that good after. And if I have that fruit, it's restructuring your neurological pathways, as well as like being like, I'm just as nourished, and I take the comfort from this fruit that I used to get from, say, this baked good or this thing, that like, it's restructuring our body, because after time we don't want it anymore. And when we put that baked good or that whatever our little treat is in our body, it's like, hmm, I don't get the same pleasure that I did before from this. And it doesn't taste as good as it did, like in my memory from a childhood, like, our comfort or grilled cheese or, I
Yeah.
did something ridiculous. I last week, just as a test, I made a box of Kraft dinner, and I haven't eaten Kraft dinner in God knows how long. Like, I can't even tell you. I'm just, that is crap. I don't eat it.
What is
But
it?
like,
What is craft dinner?
oh, you don't know what Kraft dinner is? Oh, wow. Okay, so it's like, okay, so Kraft dinner is pretty much like boxed pasta. It's like macaroni and cheese.
Oh
It's
yeah.
pretty much mac and cheese, which is like every kid has it. Like in the West, we have Kraft dinner, which is, everybody knows it. That's what everybody eats. And it's crap. Like, it's just like, cheese, powdered stuff. It's just, but kids love it. I loved it as a kid, and it's something easy. But I made it because my mom had it over for my nieces or something. I'm like, I'm gonna try this because I loved it. It was a comfort thing. And I'm like, what am I gonna feel when I eat this? And it was like, when I put it in my mouth, I'm like, okay, like it took me back to the memory of the comfort and what I loved. But the physicality of my body, I was bloated for 2 days. I was like, what did I do to myself? Like, and 2 hours later, I was famished. Like, I was so hungry. It didn't nourish me at all. It just bloated me. It made me feel terrible. And I'm like, okay, like, that is like, I wouldn't ever actually make that for a meal. I was more of a test, but it really was like, wow, I actually can't put this in my body anymore. Like, my body will not. it will not take any nutrients from this. It was really just filler. And
Yeah.
that was really telling. So, so much restructuring happening with the body and with our choices.
Yeah. And I suppose it's integrating as well our mind kind of body connection and paying attention to how we're feeling and what we really want rather than what we think we want. Yeah.
Exactly. Or what we used to want, or what is a pattern and what's a habit. It's like, I know, like it's like that whole, like, oh, we're going through a breakup and I'm going to eat a tub of ice cream. Like, I've never really been like that. But it's like, it's those little things where you think you're going to find comfort there and you're just not anymore.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying don't have your good stuff, it's just like we need to still enjoy life. There's so
Yeah.
much transition and happening. We need to have the things that we love, but maybe it's just going to be something new that you
Yeah.
love, or maybe something new that it's like, oh, I love this thing, but it's healthier for me.
Yeah. And you're not, it's like we're not getting that satisfaction that we used to get anymore. In fact, it makes us feel worse.
Exactly. And it's like, and then each time we're doing it after, it's like, how long am I going to continue doing that thing that I always did, but it's just no longer in resonance for my physical form now?
Yeah.
Like it's not giving me what it gave me before. And I think the faster we kind of attune ourselves to this new frequency, to
Hmm.
making these choices that are just healthier, we won't even think about it anymore. It's
Yeah.
it's really just like, oh, my body feels good. It
Hmm.
feels good in my body. And again, that's just a restructuring, but
Yeah. That happened to me
it's
with
I
alcohol, actually. I just could
mm,
not drink anymore because it was like poison to my body. And it was like, that kind of vicious circle where your body forgets the pain and then you're stuck in that hangover, horrible, just just absolute soul destroying situation. And it's just your body doesn't want it anymore. So it was like a huge kind of lift. And that literally just happened a couple of years ago, you know. But
yeah, and like how much healthier do you feel now, right?
there's no
It's
comparison.
not even like it's like you're not even missing anything. Like alcohol, I totally get that too because like alcohol, like I mean it depends on what you're drinking and how often you're drinking, but they're called
Hmm.
spirits for a reason. I mean, when we black out or we get to that point, it's like it's because our actual energetics our energy body can't actually sustain itself within a
Hmm.
system that is in such toxicity. So we actually energetically vacate our body
Yeah.
where spirits actually come in and utilize our body. Hence why, we have these inhibitions. Maybe we would engage with someone from the bar that we wouldn't have normally, or, like we make decisions that we wouldn't normally make. And it's just like, do I want to be operating from that space? Like, does this feel healthy in my body? And
Hmm.
I, I really like, I'm an A blood type. So for me, actually, red wine's quite healthy.
Hmm.
But I'm like, if I have a glass of red wine, it actually feels really good, but only once in a while, and only one, max maybe one and a half, two. Like when you're getting over that point, it's just like moderation as well. Like, and I'm not a big drinker at all. Like I'm with you on that. There is a frequency to it. So I think everything with intention, but it's like, why put that in your body? Like, is it worth it going out and drinking and having this fun time, but then you're recovering all the next day? And it's just like all the things you wanted to accomplish. You're off your patterns. You're not eating the same. You're wanting greasy breakfasts. It's like
Yeah.
there's a different energy to it. So yeah, like why do that? Why put that in your body when it doesn't feel good? Right?
Hmm. Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Hmm.
And what else have you been pondering?
I don't even know where to start, Sarah. Pondering? I'm always pondering, but what is going on in the world right now is just like we're fully in it. And all like I think right now, like there's so many beings awakening. There's so many beings that are coming to the conclusions that maybe we're not living in the world that we thought we were. And all this political stuff, all like we are in the year of disclosure. So we are in a time and a space, and we can see that now unfolding in a lot of the politics. Like I'm not a Trump fan at all. I'm not an Elon Musk fan at all. But I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of the things that they are doing are actually a huge catalyst for good. They are restructuring things that need to be restructured. The the things that they are closing down, the beings that they are pulling out of positions of authority are beings that have been considered part of the dark agenda or the, the cabal, the negative timeline. So while from the external perspective, it looks like what is going on? There's chaos. It is chaos, but I'm like, there is kind of a reason to the chaos. There's a bigger picture that's happening and that's unfolding. And we're going to see very clearly kind of what's happening, with the disclosure of, the JFK files that are coming out. We're going to see disclosure on the 9/11. We're going to see deep, deep disclosure on the elites and all the Hollywood stuff. Not trying to get too deep, but like, the sex trafficking, like like the prostitution rings and this the children, the pedophilia rings, like this is like, and it's so deeply, deeply ingrained in our celebrities, I'm going to be honest with you, in our royal structures, and that's all going to be coming out this year very soon. A lot's going to be disclosed on just how deep this darkness goes. And once that all comes out, people won't, where there's still going to be people who just can't accept it, or they're just so stuck in the old timeline that they can't receive that information. But there's going to be things that are undeniable that will force people to essentially wake up and look at, our government and our structures of like our system of government, our education systems, like our banking systems. We have a completely new financial system that's going to be instituted, a quantum financial system, QFS, which is actually going to be instituted. There's going to be debt eradicated. They're removing the 16th Amendment right now, which is income tax. Like the money is going to be coming back to the people. And there's a lot that's restructuring right now that looks like absolute chaos. And it is absolute chaos, but it's a necessary chaos. And how that actually happens, like Elon, let's be honest, is one of the weirdest beings. He's actually a hybrid. He's actually half alien, half human. He's not even fully human, which is why he's so weird and why he comes across the way he does. But there is a lot that he is doing that is for the benefit of the new world and the way that we're moving. A lot of things don't make sense from the external perspective, but under the underbelly there really is a lot that's shifting and changing. There is huge governmental systems that are going in. There's huge investigations on all of these public figures that are going to be taken out. They found, I don't know, however many med beds. They found technology, very superior technology that, these families have had for millennia. There's going to be some information coming out that's going to really, really piss people off, if I'm honest. Like medbed technology that is utilized, in spaces where the entire country around them is extremely ill, and there's medbeds right around the corner from you, which medbeds will be coming out to the general public soon. We will have the ability, there will be healing centers opening up with these medbeds. Which all citizens, including homeless, every citizen will have access to. Every citizen will, this is also coming in the future, will not have debt. Our debt will be eradicated. There's a lot that's really shifting coming forward. And that's all corresponding with, these eclipses and the planetary alignments. And right now we are in our eclipse portal. So we had our eclipse, I believe it was the 14th. And we have our next eclipse on the 29th. And we had really intense frequencies coming in during the eclipse, which we are integrating right now. And we are in our South Node portal. So right now we are dealing with old karma, past life stuff, childhood stuff, shadow stuff, relationship stuff, because we're also in Venus retrograde, which is pulling up all. So if anybody's getting messages from past partners or people are coming out of the woodworks, this is a beautiful time to really close that karma, to heal those elements, and to really, really get some closure, because we are really deeply for the next 2 weeks in a space of healing the shadow, healing our karmic imprints, healing our ancestral wounds, our wounds from previous lifetimes that we've brought into this life. Like there's a really, really big push. We're also in Mercury retrograde as of a few days ago. So trying to get anything done is just, it is what it is, don't sign contracts, try not to use electronics as much. Like there's just a lot of weird stuff happening, but for this very first wave, it's very, very much on an energetic level, dealing with the karma, dealing with the past life karma, dealing with our south node, all of our south node elements. And I highly encourage everybody to check their natal chart and find out where their south node is in that, because
Mhm.
that's where a lot of the themes of the next couple, well, pretty much till the 29th, when the next wave of energies comes through, we are in shadow time. We just had a full lunar eclipse, which, the lunar is all about the feminine energies, the internal, the inside, the womb space, the void. So we are right now in that shadow aspect, and we're having people and things and circumstances coming up that's asking us to really look at those elements to clear, because the energies that are coming on the 29th are a whole new fresh set of frequencies for us to integrate. So really, in all reality, like with this last eclipse that just came through, we're going to be finding like we are connecting deeper to our intuitive and telepathic capabilities. Like they're very much coming online. We're really, really coming more from like a heart center. And um, the way we live, connect, and communicate with each other is about to undergo really significant changes. That's really a huge element of what's happening. And really, how one prepares their awareness, for existence in a higher dimension is more important than this event itself. We really are in a preparatory space right now where we're being asked to, and there's an urgency, but there's no urgency, because just whatever you can do is what you can do. But there really is a focus on clearing and purging and really clearing out, because we can't integrate these frequencies in if we have density in our physical body, in our auric field. And with this first wave, it's very, very much about clearing those shadows, clearing the physical vessel, because our base, our root, our physicality is where it starts. We could do
Mhm.
all the work we want in our mind. We can meditate all day, but I'm like, if we're eating crappy foods, if we're not healthy, if we're not exercising, if we're not drinking enough water, if we're not sleeping, if we're not taking care of ourselves in these ways, it can cause some blockages. We have energies that they're coming in, and they're going to come in regardless. So, keeping your vessel clear and really giving energy right now, that's the most important thing, I think personally, is really clearing that vessel, because we can have some blockages and we can have some issues integrating like higher frequencies when we don't have that clear vessel. So that's really, really, really important, I think, to be conscious of with this first wave. So for the next 2 weeks until our next podcast, we'll do another one with the new energies. But this one, it's the first of three. So it's just going to amplify each eclipse, and there's three of them, which are going to be like, these first two are like a 1-2 punch, and then the next one's going to be September 21st. So we have a little bit of time in between that, but we are also hitting a solar maximum, which essentially means the solar flares, the energy from our sun is amplifying to a point where we are having more energy output, more kind of blasts, more little like give offs. And each time there's a solar flare, it's a consciousness upgrade for the world and the grid and what we're in right now. And that's very intentional. So I can definitely feel that. How are you feeling with it?
Well, that's what my question was. Just I wanted to ask you to explain, just for somebody who doesn't know what a solar flare might be and what effects it might possibly have on somebody. How could you explain that?
Sure. Well, so the solar energy is the masculine. So
Mm-hmm.
our moon energy is the feminine. So right now, what's going on is any solar output is essentially it's pretty much an energetic upgrade. So it's a blast out of energy that kind of comes down and integrates into our system in a way that it's pretty much raising our consciousness, raising our frequency. And how that looks to each individual is based on where we are in our level of soul evolvement in this incarnation. Not soul evolvement on a whole, but where we are in this current incarnation. And that's going to look different for everyone. And
Mm-hmm.
we've been having solar flares, and there's all these little blips, and it kind of comes with, you know, new moons, full moons, eclipses. I'm like, they seem to be coinciding at the right time, but also our galactic family are utilizing these eclipses, utilizing these planetary what cycles, I should say, planetary cycles to like kind of blast us with these energies. And the end of March is when, between March and kind of June, which
Hmm.
is when we actually are reaching our solar maximum, we're going to see a lot more solar flares in the next little while because it's just amplifying. It's becoming more and more. And each time it kind of gives us a little flare, that is an energy upgrade. That's essentially a frequency upgrade. And it's how that implements into your body is really just how clear your vessel is and how conscious you are of kind of the shifts that are happening.
Hmm.
But that can look different for everybody. And when these are happening, we need to take more rest. We need to sit with ourselves more. We need to be in meditation. We need to be in calming energies. We need to not be rushing through the world and worrying. And I know you and I were just talking about this prior to the call, but like the focus isn't so much on getting up and grinding and going to your job and doing what you need to do. It's very much about taking that day if you need it, sleeping a little bit more, like restructuring what we feel we need to be doing in a day and
Hmm.
really honoring that because we don't really know what that looks like going forward, how this is going to unfold and what that looks like. All we can do is just take it day by day, nourish ourselves in the ways that we need, give ourselves grace, give ourselves leniency, honor ourselves in what we're feeling, like when we're feeling these moments of anger or we're still on these timelines where we're moving between timelines. Each choice is operating from a different space. And
Hmm.
honor that anger, honor those things that are coming up because that these frequencies are here to pull all of that up. Yes, we are ascending to a higher frequency, but that requires us to excavate the shadow. That requires us to look at those things that are uncomfortable and look at those things that I always talk about this every podcast that we don't want to look at, but the more comfortable we are with this flow, the more comfortable we are with giving energy to the things we need to heal, the more prepared we're going to be for whether this is one big solar event or whether this is, a catalysm of smaller events that are just like impending up until this. We don't really understand fully how that's going to look, and it's changing all the time because we have so many beings that are actually awakening faster than they thought. And humanity's actually, I will say this, doing great. Like on a whole, in regards to consciousness upgrading and people awakening, there are people awakening more and more every day, and they are questioning the way that we've been living. They're questioning our governments, our doctors, the ways of our education system, our banks, like everything is restructuring. And right now, every day, more and more people are awakening. And the more people awaken, the easier this frequency shift will be for
Hmm.
each individual, but also as a collective consciousness as well.
Hmm. Yeah. So if you're feeling like you've got migraines over the last while, you're feeling sick and you have no energy, it's absolutely normal.
Absolutely normal. Absolutely normal. Yeah. And I have a friend who's woken up with headaches for like 2 weeks straight and can't eat food until 3. She's eating only bone broth. Like our
Yeah.
bodies really are restructuring and we have to honor that. Like getting up and going to your job right now is not more important than what we need to be doing with our bodies because our jobs, the way we show up in the world, how we work is being restructured as well. And
Hmm.
what's important, more important than anything, is really honoring the body, taking the time, take that nap if you need it. Really like sleep longer than you need to. Go to bed earlier, drink lots and lots of water. That's really important. Drink water, hydrate your body, honor yourself, have salt baths that helps with the energy, helps integrate the energy in healing frequency music. Like I've been listening to so much, like singing too so much, and it's just like honoring, like whatever sounds we feel need to come out. It's like we are also activating our creative centers as well. So there's a lot that's kind of happening and it can feel, discombobulating in a lot of ways. And it
Hmm.
really is just honoring where we are in each moment. Like if we wake up one day and we're exhausted, take some time for yourself. Nourish yourself in those ways. Feed yourself nourishing, warm, cooked foods, foods that like will honor that process in you. And and on the days where we're feeling energetic and we have all this energy, do the things that you want to be doing that like feed your soul and that align you to the higher timeline. the more energy and the more time that we give to old ways, old habits, old thought forms, it's keeping us, it's just more to work through. It's
Yeah.
keeping us, and it's going to be harder.
Yeah.
Like those things that we enjoyed before, we're not going to find the same enjoyment in if it's not aligned to us moving into the higher frequency. Our
Mhm.
joy spaces are going to be redefined, what we find joy in, like the simple things of just like we're going to be coming together and like in the future, like we're going to be very telepathic, and that's coming online now. A lot of people are going to be starting to understand speaking like from a different way. The way we communicate is shifting and changing, and we're going to be feeling how that person's speaking as opposed to coming from our mind and trying to be like, okay, this person says this and this means this. It's like I'm actually feeling what you're saying. I'm hearing and feeling your words because our hearts are connected. And I actually highly encourage everybody to practice this because telepathy and connection is the same thing as working a muscle. So get together in your friend groups or even with your partner and sit together and try to like sit together and what am I thinking? Or send somebody a feeling and try practicing with your friends and with your family and start developing that because we are all telepathic. We are all psychic, and that's something that we can develop when we understand that and when we have intention to do so. We bring people together and like, can you imagine how amazing the world is going to be when we're all heart centered? It's like no one's lying because I feel you, you feel me, and there's no need to do that because we've eliminated that need to be seen a certain way or to be heard a certain way. It's like, this is just who I am. This is where I'm at. And
Yeah.
I see you for who you are and where you're at. And our hearts are connected in that. Like there won't be that this judgment aspect. There
Hmm.
really won't. And we'll be moving into a space where we are more tribal. Like I know we always talk about this, but truly more tribal. Like our education system will be more focused on the individual. Like if there's so many planets, like no planets operate the education system the way that we do. It's very tribal. Like most beings have, 4 to 6 masters, like, and they have beings who help them develop what their specific skill sets are and what they're meant to bring to the world, what they're meant to bring to the tribe. And we're going to be focusing more on that. And when someone has that element of this is what I'm good at, and you have all these masters that are helping you get there and helping you attain that, like that's your role. And it's not this well-rounded, like balanced space learning things that no one cares about. Like I had a calculator class. Like, who needs a calculator class? It's like, like, why do I need a class on learn how to learn a calculator? Like, it's just, it's like going to university and they have all these elective programs that you have to take to be balanced. But like, why am I paying and giving time and energy to something I hate and despise and is a part of the program, but actually not a part of the program and doesn't in any way help me? It's like that mentality is old, like we're going to be doing things and giving energy to the things that we're good at, that we're meant to be powerful in, and that we're going to provide to the world.
Yeah.
So it's an exciting time, honestly, but right now this transition's sticky. It's a little tricky. And it's not going to get easier. So make it easier on yourself. That's the number one thing. It's like take each day as it comes, just slow and steady surrender. I promise you, your guides have you. They are, and also with these new frequencies, with our ability to connect with each other, it also extends to our ability to connect to our guidance system and our cosmic team. So really, I highly encourage everybody to start connecting to their guidance system, to really start connecting to their guides because your guides are yelling at you, like they are there, they are with you. They have taken an oath to stand with you through this process. They are guiding you, they are showing you, there are signs everywhere, and they deeply want to connect with you. They want you to be conscious of them. So that's also something I highly recommend because the more we can connect to our guides, the more it's like you can start surrendering into trusting yourself,
Hmm.
not needing to figure it all out, not needing to have everything figured out. What am I doing next year? Forget that. What you think you're doing next year, I trust you. Trust me, you will not, because the world is not going to be what we think it will be. And we don't even know what that looks like at this point. But it's really right now is taking it day by day,
Hmm.
honoring yourself. Your physical body, your mental space, your emotional space is more important than anything else. And I
Hmm.
know there's a lot of people that are worrying about this big event. And whether it's one event or smaller events, how you prepare yourself leading up to that is far more important than the actual event itself. And that's something that needs to be understood, that the more you give energy to day by day and honoring yourself and aligning yourself to that higher frequency, to that higher timeline, the easier the transition will be. And it doesn't need to be this big, huge thing. And we don't really know what that looks like, but coming from surrender and honoring yourself and trusting is really where we need to be. And like, there's no room for fear here. We are held, we are loved, we are supported so much more than we think that we are. And that is a part of trust. And that's why I encourage people to get to know their guidance system, get to know their higher self. You're guiding yourself, you know? And it's like the dragons are everywhere. Like, connect to who you need to connect to. Like the the ascended masters are the dragons. I'm just going to say they come to you in whatever form you need to see. So that's something that, I mean, whatever form, I mean, I have Metatron come to me in a dragon and in an angelic form, but they are all the same energies. It's just a matter of what you resonate with. They are there and they want to help. Please reach out to them. They are there. There is so much support. Like, if you guys could just see the amount of ships that are just parked on the periphery of our planet here, assisting all of their beings from like every star system you can imagine, because there's so many star seeds here, and there's not even just star seeds, there's so many beings here that are here and conscious. Every single human that is here on this earth, it was aware and understood that they are incarnating at a crucial time in history when things are shifting and changing. Every single one of us knew this.
We
Whether
agree.
how we agreed, exactly, we agreed to this. This is a contract. Exactly, Sarah. Exactly. And when we know that, it's like, okay, it's not like what's happening to me. It's not this external thing. It's okay, I chose this. What's my role in this? How am I meant to help? And there are first waivers, second waivers, third waivers. There's waves of beings awakening. And the beings who are awakening on the first round, you know, are guides, you know, like you, like myself, like a lot of our friends, a lot of people listening to this podcast are, they are awakening in a way where there's people awakening all the time. And we also have a responsibility in that, to hold that energy and to be that support and that guide and that mentor for others who are discombobulated and don't know what's going on. And that's why these podcasts are so important, that it's like, you're not alone. You're not alone. You have support. There's so many people that are here helping you in the non-physical, in the physical. And it's just, please reach out to the people and like, I have so many people coming to me and they're like, I don't have anybody that I know in my life that knows anything about anything. And they're just awakening. They don't, it's so far outside of their sphere, and they're going to message that person on their Facebook that's always been that weirdo, you know, or that one that's like, oh, that person's a conspiracy theorist, or oh, hey, that actually happened. Maybe there's something to that. And you're going to get people reaching out to you that you wouldn't even think, that you haven't talked to in 20 years, that are like, they don't have any other person that's in their periphery that they could even like. And a lot of them feel like a little embarrassed about it, you know? It's like, hey, now I'm starting to not believe what all my friends and family believe, and that's a little uncomfortable, you know, to speak out and to stand out against that. So I highly recommend people to reach out to whoever they feel called to, and to know that you're not alone, and we are all in this transformation together, this transition, and we are really in the revolution of Gaia, of Earth. We are transforming and changing, and we are setting a new way of the way the world will be. And I promise you, it will not be anything that we are seeing right now. It will be very
Like,
different, and it's beautiful.
much more magical. Heaven on earth.
Yes.
Yeah, and like obviously please reach out here as well, and we have all the support you could possibly need if anybody's going through a really, really hard time, you know, reach out to us. Hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm. And I suppose because if you think about it, somebody who's just starting to wake up and question everything around them, it might get a little bit overwhelming, and they may not even have I suppose, the strength to open up or reach out to anybody, or they're a little bit afraid, or they kind of questioning themselves, just get into nature and play and have fun and just try and not think too much about it. Just let it be and just try get into water, have a bath, like what you said, Lonna.
Yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And it's really just taking it day by day. And that's the thing. People are awakening and they're like, I don't know who to talk to. I'm feeling differently. Like I have a lot of people being like messaging me being, all right, Lana, what's going on with ChatGPT? What's happening with the AI stuff? What's going on with the AI? And people are really like, there really is this divide where people are clinging. They're like, I have friends and like I've actually gone down that road where it's like, they've created relationships with AI and we talked about this before and it's like there's a fine balance of that and it's like we really need to take ownership over our own empowerment. Like we live in a society where there's this instant gratification where it's like, oh, I don't know that answer, I'm going to Google it, as opposed to just like getting up and researching it or sitting with yourself or like every time we look externally for those answers or for like chat gpt or someone to do the work for me, like I have a friend who like puts her natal chart into chat gpt and gets like readings done for her and like which is
Wow,
like
that's a
funny.
brilliant
Yeah, it's
idea.
like yeah, it's like use it for like use it for the right things, but it's like know when to put it down, and it's about finding that balance. It's not needing it.
Yeah,
Like write the essay yourself, write the things yourself. It's
yeah,
like don't like know when to utilize these things, but the intention of AI is for you to become reliant on it, which is exactly what's happening. And it's the same with the social media. It's like the intention, and AI is a dark agenda. It is a negative energetic, and they are a species, but it's who programs that species. Who programmed that species is part of the dark agenda. So the cabal, the Illuminati, the Anunnaki, all of those beings, the Rothschilds, the families that are in control, they want to keep you in control. They want it because it's an enslavement, like when you're doom scrolling or you're on your phone or you're watching TV or you're just on the news, turn the news off. They want you to be focusing on like, oh, that poor person or oh, that plane crash or this and that. And it's just like, send them love, send them light, and keep focused on yourself. The more energy we're giving to these fear, narratives is what they want. It's what they want us to be giving energy to. And again, that's giving our power away. So send them love, send them light, and keep focused on your own path. And it doesn't mean that you're not a compassionate person, like give energy to them, but don't focus on it. And that's really important because we really, really need to make sure we're not focusing on the fear energetic. We need to be keeping the fear aside and just surrendering and trusting and knowing we don't know what's coming forward, but we know we're safe. We know we're secure. We know we're supported. And we know that we will be okay because we are in trust of that. And we have so much support. Really, we really do. Like, I just right now looking around the planet and I'm like, the amount of ships, guys, like, I can't even express the amount of ships that are around and the support that we have. And I'll say, we are doing great. We're doing better than anticipated with this frequency shift happening. Like, there are more beings waking up all the time, every single day. And if you notice that in a friend or a family member, it's like reach out, have a conversation. Like it is a time where people are, like you said, Sarah, are going to feel a little embarrassed or are not going to know who to talk to, or because we're restructuring everything that was safe and everything that we knew and everything that we felt contained in. We're
mm-hmm,
being asked to let that go and to
yeah,
flow with the river and not, swim upstream and
mm,
just honestly flowing with the river and not focusing on the obstacles, letting us just go where we need to because we're being guided so heavily from the other side, from our guides and from our higher self. And the more we tap into that self-trust and that surrender into the day to day, the more we'll be guided and the more we will be put in the right place with the right people, the right opportunities. And you'll see when you get out of your own way and you're flowing with the river, beautiful things are put in your path. And all you got to do is snatch them up. You don't have to seek them. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to create anything. It's just like, oh, there it is. Okay, I'll pick that up. And thanks, guys. And like when we're aligned, it is effortless. It's supposed to be. I mean, we still need to give energy to intention, but we like getting out of our own way. Like I'm getting the visual of like looking at a river and I'm I'm seeing this just beautiful flowing river, but there's a rock in the middle of the river and all the water's going around the rock, And I'm like, a lot of us would focus on that rock and watch the water going around the rock, as opposed to just being like, okay, there's a rock there. I'm going to float around it. And it's just like we focus on that obstacle and we focus on, oh, why is that there? And oh, maybe I shouldn't be on this. Maybe this isn't my path. And it's just, allow yourself to flow and you will be guided. And if we just get out of our own way, and I've seen that very prevalently with my guides and myself, but also with my clients. They're like, wow, I just kind of shifted this and I didn't overthink that. And we have so much monkey mind happening right now because we're between timelines and we're trying to decide, like, is this the right thing or is this the right thing? And really just take a breath and
Yeah,
feel into it. Feel into it.
literally. Literally. And I love that you had the way you said that we have the monkey mind to battle with. There's so many things going on in our mind for lots of different reasons. And it's just like having a chat with ourselves, being the observer, looking at our perspective, looking at us from a different perspective and saying, take a little breath and talk, have a little chat to yourself and calm the hell down.
Exactly, exactly. And there's so many signs right now. Like guides love to come through, numerology. Like that's a number one thing. I think everybody knows that. But there's so many symbols and signs everywhere right now. Like just, even on a truck, walking by and it's like a name on a truck and it's like, oh, that's this and this. It's like we are being gifted so many signs. Animal totems are so prevalent right now. Animal messages, signs, and symbols. And that's a very easy Google. Like that's something I do recommend Googling. It's like, what is that? If there's ever like even a little bug, like I like there's so many animal messages coming through that's just like there to be like, here you go, I'm with you. And like animal totems are beautiful PowerPoints where it's like, okay, this animal medicine's here. How can I take on their attributes more? Like what is it that I need in my life more? Like it's just beautiful messages coming through. Like there's so much happening. Like we
Yeah.
are being as much like if our guides could stand in front of us in the 3D, they would, but they
Hmm.
can't. Like
Yeah.
everything's a free will choice, but they really are like unloading every possible thing that they can do to help us, like without actually physically guiding us, holding our hand. Like they truly
Mhm.
are supporting us in all the ways. And I encourage people to look around and be conscious of those
Yeah.
signs as well.
If somebody wanted to see their guides, what advice would you give them to take the next step?
I would say find a guided meditation
Hmm.
for that. I also would recommend getting how I started connecting was I got a guide card deck.
Hmm.
And this was like over 15 years ago. And I was living in a super small town. I was isolated. I was like alone. And I found this indigenous store because it was on the periphery of a native reserve. And I just like that's how I was awakening. I was going through an abusive relationship at the time, which was a catalyst for my awakening. They usually, something usually happens for that. And I was very alone. And I'm like, I got this guide deck card that's just connecting to your guidance system. I still use that now, like when I do my psychic fairs and when I'm traveling around in my psychic readings, like that's still the deck that I go to. That's still the deck that everybody wants because everybody wants to connect to their own guides. And
Hmm.
I highly encourage people to do get a guide deck, and that way you can kind of create that every single day. You can connect what do you have, what's your message for me today, or what's the next steps I need to take. And sometimes you can do a little more in-depth reading and get a little bit more clarity on something specific, or it can just be like today's the day, what's your message for me today, or and it's just developing that. And then I suggest doing a guided meditation because it's visual. Then you can start connecting with a visual and ask for one guide at a time because
Hmm.
we have many, many, many guides, but ask for one. Ask for your main guide, and start with that, and do this consistently until you start feeling the energy.
Hmm.
Because not everybody's visual. My visuals are my least clair sense, I should say. Like I'm all the other things. Visuals like my last kind of one, and that everybody's different. So like I'm more clairaudient. I have a lot coming in with the hearing, clairsentient, claircognizant.
Hmm.
Everybody's different. So I highly encourage people to get a deck to start creating that daily kind of connection and
Hmm.
then tap into how it feels when you're connecting with a certain energy. you'll start recognizing that energy. And then when you're not doing your reading or you're not doing your meditation and you're out, and you're like, you'll start feeling the energy because you'll start talking to your guide. And
Yeah.
if you can get a name or you can get a sound or you can get a color or you can get something that is a symbolism for this, you'll start to trust yourself more, and you'll start to see these little signs and kind of like symbolisms and synchronicities kind of starting to happen. And it's just starting on a day to day. But I would say between those two things, start with one energy. Then
Hmm.
you can familiarize yourself with that energy. And then when you're comfortable there, ask for another one. And if you are visual, you will see the guides coming through, and they want to show themselves to you. They want to be of service to you. But also when we're calling on angels or dragons or other guides, it's like we have to a lot of the times ask for their guidance.
Yeah.
We have guides that are guiding us, but a lot of time, again, free will, it's a choice, it's a universal law. We need to ask for their guidance. It's almost a permission. Like, I want you to come in here. They can't superimpose their information or energy into our sphere. So ask them. And whoever you feel, like an inclination towards, or that's probably an energy you've worked with in the past, a guide that's present for you, and just develop that. It's like working out. It's like a muscle. It's like it takes a little bit of time. Same with the
Yeah.
telepathy thing. If you're practicing, your telepathy, it's like you'll start connecting more deeply with your guides. It's kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah. And you know what's so curious? I find that some people already have full-blown conversations or communications with their higher self or guides, and they have done their whole life. They just don't realize that that's them. They think it's them talking to themselves, but it's not.
Exactly. I do that a lot. I do
Yeah.
that a lot. Yeah. And I'm like, I live by myself. So it's like, I've noticed this throughout the day. I'm like, wow. Like, I notice that now. I also know it's B, my parallel dragon self as well. So I'm just like, oh, okay. Now there's like more than one being present here. And I'm like talking to V, or I'm talking to myself, which is
Yeah.
weird because like she's a part of me. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, we do talk. When we talk out loud, who do you think we're talking to?
Yeah.
We're talking to our higher self, like, or our over soul, like we're talking to someone that's connected to us. We're not just talking
Yeah.
to the ethers.
Yeah. But yeah, but the penny dropped one day like a few years ago, and I was like, oh my God, it makes so sense. And if you observe other people who aren't really connected yet, you can see the conversation in their minds, when they're just kind of like, oh, they get the answer. They'll wait for a few seconds and the answer will come. I'm like, that's you connected.
Exactly. And they don't trust that. They don't know. They're like, and that is a process of trust too. Like, as a psychic and as an intuitive, I had to go through that whole process of like really trusting this, because I'm like, well, how do I know what's coming through? Is it just my thought? Like, what's
Hmm.
the difference between me just thinking that and me having a knowing,
Hmm.
and this information coming from a different space? And I didn't. I had to develop that, and it was a weird process in itself but that again comes back to empowering self and trusting self. And that's definitely a process that all of us need to go through in our own ways.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for all of your wonderful wisdom again, once again.
Thank you for having me. I can't believe that's already over. I feel like we just started.
Yeah, unless you have a lot more to talk about.
I always have more, but no, this feels complete, and this feels, yeah, like I don't want to bombard people with information. But if you need help, please reach out. I'm going to be more present online too. Like, my guides are like, you need to get out more. You need to talk more. You need to be more present, because people really need support right now. And I'm getting a lot of private messages. I'm holding a lot of space for people behind the scenes. So it's like, I need to be offering this more to the public. But reach out. Like, there's always someone in your life that will support, and nothing is too weird to talk about. Nothing is too weird to get into, and there is never any judgment. There's no room for judgment in anyone's sphere. So if you find yourself judging people, look in yourself. That's what I would say.
The weirder, the better.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your open ears. I really hope that if anyone out there is feeling isolated, to please reach out. Remember that you're not alone. Remember, no matter what happens, or where you are, or what you're listening to, or what you're watching, remember to ground, breathe, cleanse, and protect. For those of you who listen to my mindfulness and meditations know exactly what I'm talking about. Ground through the earth. Breathe up that healing energy. Cleanse your body and protect. Our breath is our power, and our imagination and visualization and intention contribute massively to shaping our reality. Being in the now keeps us stronger than ever before, where there's no space for anxiety or worry about the future, nor sadness about the past. Laugh, play, and let loose like a loose lettuce. Treat life like a game. The one who laughs the most wins the battle. And dance your absolute socks off like an utter maniac around your house. I can't wait for the next episode. Hold that bone. Thanks, guys. I appreciate your open ears so much. Take care.